Well, hello and happy Friday to everyone. My name is Caro, and I am so honored to be here. So looking forward to sharing this yoga practice with all of you. Um, I had to access my own inner yogi to deal with some technical difficulties this morning and kind of breathe through that stress, but I'm here now. Everything's working. Um, I see some faces. If y'all could give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. Excellent. Thank y'all so much. Okay, let me go ahead and get situated. So I've got my headphones in, so you should be able to hear me even when I step back like this. Can I get another thumbs up if you can still hear me? Excellent. Well, welcome to our chair yoga session today. A couple things before we get started. I just want to invite each of us to move in a way that feels comfortable. I do invite you to use a chair that doesn't have any wheels so that you're not sort of slipping and sliding all over during our practice together today. If you do only have a chair with wheels, I just invite you to be, a little extra cautious, making sure you have your balance even in our chair if it has wheels. All of that said, one way you could begin your practice today would be maybe leaning side to side. Now, if you choose to lean side to side, you may start to feel a bit of a stretch into the side of your body. And you may find that you want to continue side to side movement, or it may feel interesting to begin more of a circular pattern. Now, if you choose to add in the circular pattern, you may notice that this feels like a stretch into your lower back, maybe into your hips or your feet, changing directions as many times as you like, sort of noticing how that feels, kind of warming up our lower back today on this beautiful Friday. Now, at any point here, you could choose to lean forward. So sometimes this is called a forward fold. You could lean forward any amount. Sometimes I keep my hands on my knees. Other times I'll come to my elbows. You're welcome to try both of those options and sort of see which feels more supportive for you. And whether you have your hands or your elbows on your knees, you may find that a little bit of side to side movement feels useful. Now, what that'll do is start to access a bit of a stretch into our mid back along the side here, kind of the beginnings of our spinal twist. And you may notice that it feels useful to sort of lower one shoulder and then the other. And that'll start to maybe bring a stretch into our upper back, sort of between your shoulder blades up in your upper back. Now, one other option you're welcome to add in here. As you lower your right shoulder, you could look to the left. So sort of completing that spinal twist. And then as you try the other side, you may find that it feels useful to sort of look to the right as you're lowering your left shoulder. And this is sort of getting our spine ready for a spinal twist, also still warming up. Taking your time, whenever you feel ready, you could come through what feels like center, maybe pushing into your knees to lift up, and you have the option of reaching up overhead as high as feels comfortable. And then as we exhale, maybe you bend one elbow, reaching up with one arm. And then you have the option of sort of swapping that out. So you could breathe in, reaching one arm up, and then exhale the other arm up, reaching one and then the other. And it's possible that you'll start to feel a sort of lengthening into the side of your body, maybe even up into your shoulder, kind of into your armpit or your upper back. There's no rush. So whenever you feel ready, maybe you reach both arms up. There's an option to breathe in here. And as we exhale, maybe circling your wrist. You may find that you kind of get out some snap, crackle, pop here. I always do in my wrist joint. Bringing your arms all the way down. Let's take a deep breath in. Maybe you reach right back up. And then as you exhale, perhaps flicking through the air with your fingers, all the way down. And what that's going to do is send circulation and sensation to the joints of your fingers, maybe even some strengthening in your forearms. We're going to inhale, maybe reaching right back up. This time, as we exhale, possibly wiggling your fingers, we're going to really intentionally find our full range of motion in our fingers and our hands, playing that invisible grand piano all the way down. And then whenever you're ready, one last time, we're going to reach right back up, breathing in. This time, as you exhale, we're going to imagine pulling down through the air in front of us. Maybe as you breathe in through your nose, you reach right back up. And as you exhale out through your mouth, you could pull right back down. There's an option to take that 3 more times, reaching up to breathe in, exhaling to pull down. Breathing in, maybe reaching up, exhaling, pulling down. But you're welcome to continue that movement, or you could rest your hands on your legs and we'll come right back to those great big circles in our torso. Now, these may feel a little different than they did at the very beginning of your practice, maybe more spacious or more fluid. It's also possible that it feels exactly the same. Once you feel like you've changed directions enough times, you could begin to come back through what feels like center for you. Now, I'm going to turn to the side just so you can kind of see what I'm doing, but you're welcome to stay right where you are. So on your inhale, there's an option to bring your hands towards your hips so your elbows sort of draw back. Maybe there's a lift in your heart as you lean forward, breathing in. Then as you exhale, maybe your hands or fingertips come towards your knees. You could sort of round and rock. Inhaling, maybe lifting through your heart, coming forward. And then as you exhale, you could sort of round, maybe bowing your head, rocking back. Now, sometimes this is called a spinal wave. Sometimes it's called cat and cow. And the idea is really just to let your spine articulate in a way maybe we haven't let it during the week or during the day. And also to notice sort of how your back is feeling. And any information you're getting from your spine as you're moving, you can sort of use that information to calibrate the way that you're moving or change the way you're moving in some way, adjusting your range of motion. Now, you're welcome to continue this spinal wave if this is feeling useful. Or if you're ready for a different sensation, you could inhale to lean forward, finding your Buddha belly, really letting your belly get nice and big. Then as you exhale, drawing your belly button towards your spine, we're going to hinge back until maybe you feel your abdominals engaging or strengthening. So that as we inhale, we're leaning forward. And then as we exhale, maybe engaging your core to lean back. Continuing at your own pace. You may notice that sort of warm muscle sensation in your abdominals as we strengthen. The more we can strengthen our core, the more our lower back will thank us for the support. You're welcome to continue this movement. Or when you feel ready for another forward fold, you could lean forward. Once again, maybe your hands on your knees, maybe your elbows on your knees. Or this time, breathing in. On your exhale, it's possible that you come further forward. So you may notice that you want to bring your hands to your ankles or your feet or the ground. Each of us, we can kind of decide where we want to keep our elbows or our hands. You have an option in your forward fold of bowing your head forward. And that may feel like a bit of softening into the back of your neck. So it's almost like you're inviting your neck to sort of let go of the weight of your head, letting your head get heavy here in our forward fold. Let's take a deep breath in and exhale out. Now, as slowly as we can, we want to plant our hands on our knees to look forward, really taking your time to lift up. You want to give our head plenty of time to come back above our heart. As you rise up through center, maybe you reach up, breathing in. And then you could exhale your palms together to your heart. Inhaling, diving upward. And as we exhale, maybe sweeping your arms slightly back and down. Now, if it's available, you could hold on to your chair depending on what kind of chair you're using. If that doesn't feel comfortable, you could also reach your fingertips back towards the wall behind you. We're going to take a deep breath in, lifting through your heart. Then as you exhale, maybe bringing your arms forward, crossing one arm over the other. So the idea here is that we want to let our elbows sort of get heavy, resting on our body. And that may be enough of a stretch into your shoulders today. If you'd like more sensation, you could take a little bit of opening from side to side. And if for any reason that doesn't feel comfortable or interesting today, another option that's available to you would be to explore lifting your elbows as you breathe in and exhaling to lower them back down. So that's going to feel like a little bit of a different stretch into our shoulders, creating some more space in our upper back. Just starting to notice which arm you have naturally placed on top. We're going to swap that out, maybe opening wide to breathe in. And as you exhale, you could bring the opposite arm on top. Now, again, so many options. You could stay here, feeling that nice stretch into your shoulders. You're welcome to open a little bit from side to side. Or for whatever reason, if you're wanting something different, you could explore lifting your elbows as you breathe in and maybe lowering them as you exhale. And there's really no rush. There's never any rush. You can always stay with any of these movements as long as you want. So whenever you're ready, maybe you open your arms wide, maybe a lift in your heart. Now, as we exhale, maybe turning your palms to face the ground, and we'll take a little bit of reaching side to side. So you may notice a bit of a stretch towards your rib cage, your upper body. If you want to, you could add a little bit of a wave into your arms, finding some softness in your fingers, your wrists, your elbows. As fluid as this movement is, it's also a strengthening exercise for our shoulders and our upper back. So you may start to feel a little bit of strengthening or muscle sensations in your shoulders. If you're clenching your jaw in this moment, this could be an opportunity to soften the inside of your mouth, softening your tongue. We'll come through center. Maybe you reach up to breathe in. As we exhale, possibly pulling right back down through the air in front of you, all the way to rest your hands on your knees. Now, I find it helpful here to give a little bit of a roll into my shoulders. You're welcome to try that in both directions, softening a bit in our upper body. Now, we're going to shift our awareness down into our feet. So I'm just going to scoot back a little bit so you can see my feet in case that's useful to you. I may even adjust my screen a little bit. So if you want to, you could explore lifting one heel and then the other. Now, I've chosen to take my shoes off because I kind of enjoy having my feet connected to the ground. If for whatever reason you have shoes or socks on, that's perfectly okay. You are welcome to have shoes or socks or bare feet. Each of us get to choose what feels comfortable today. Now, at any point here, if you'd like, you could explore lifting both of your heels. And then as you exhale, landing your heels and lifting your toes, so that we're sort of alternating between lifting our heels and lifting our toes. And you may start to feel some sensations into your calf muscles. As we articulate through our feet and toes, you may feel sensation in some of these muscles along the front of your shins. At any point, you could decide to inhale to lift your heels. And then as you continue breathing, maybe you circle your heels through the air. Now we're going to steal a little bit from Qigong here, so don't tell anybody. Maybe as we lift our heels, we're going to slide the backs of our hands up an invisible wall. Then as you exhale, you could land your heels, sliding your palms back down that wall and lifting your toes. Inhaling, maybe lifting your heels, sliding your hands up. Exhaling, softening your hands back down. So really connecting the movement of our feet, our arms, and our breath. following your own pace for 3 or 4 more cycles of movement and breath. Maybe you decide to continue this movement for whatever reason, or at the bottom of one of your exhales, you could rest your hands on your knees, and there's an option to begin lifting one foot and then the other. Now, there's 2 ways to do this. You could explore lifting one foot and then the other with your hands on your knees, or another option would be to use the strength of your hands and arms to sort of assist in lifting one leg and then the other. Either way, we'll continue from side to side, noticing how this might feel into our hips, maybe the backs of your legs, maybe your knees. And the next time you're lifting your right foot, if you choose to, you could pause here. And you could hold on to your leg or the front of your shin. If you're noticing that you're really rounding forward, this could be a moment to sort of lift and lengthen up through your spine. And maybe you start to circle your toes. This is another opportunity for all those snap crackles. I don't know if you guys can hear my ankle, all the noise it's making today. Now maybe we point and flex. And then if it sounds interesting today, as you soften your foot, maybe you take some side to side movement in your knee through the air. And the idea here is to really listen into our hip joint. You could also circle your knee through the air. Again, your hands and arms are available here to sort of assist in that movement. Whenever you feel ready, there's an option to extend your right leg forward, landing your heel. It is completely up to you if you want to keep your leg bent or straight here. And you may find it useful to scoot slightly forward just so our chair isn't sort of cutting into our muscle there in the back of our right leg. Let's inhale to lengthen up through your spine. And then as you exhale, you have the option of leaning forward any amount. Your hands can support you on your legs, and you may feel that significant stretch here in the back of your right leg. And you're always welcome to pause in your stretch. You could stay here breathing for as long as you choose. You're feeling that you prefer movement, you could inhale to lift up, rising any amount. Then as you exhale, maybe you come right back down. So that is an option for movement, sort of lifting to look forward as you breathe in, and maybe exhaling back down. There's no rush. So when you're ready, we could rise all the way up. Maybe you reach up overhead. Exhaling your palms together towards the center of your chest. And as we inhale, maybe you dive upward, exhaling your arms very slightly back and down. Taking your time to plant both of your feet. Maybe you send your knees side to side. It's possible that your feet sort of roll from their outer edge to their inner edge here. And then before we take that on the other side, there's an option of heel toeing your feet just a little wider apart. Now you may find it sort of supportive here to have your toes angling out so that as you lean from side to side, we have that support of our feet firmly grounded. We want to imagine that your heels are beneath your knees so we have a good amount of support. You could use your forearms to rest on your knees as you lean side to side. And then if it sounds inviting today, as you lean to the right, maybe imagining sort of a little bit of rotation open towards your heart, looking up at the ceiling or the sky. And then we could try that on the other side. As you lean to the left, you could look up and to the right, continuing from side to side, maybe feeling that deeper stretch into your side body. Anytime we're lengthening and stretching like this, it's kind of like we're creating more space inside our bodies so that we can breathe more deeply, move in a way that feels more spacious. If your arms are really wanting movement here, you are welcome to sweep one arm overhead and then the other. It's totally up to you. If that feels like a useful stretch today, you could add that in. And noticing how you're breathing as you're moving. There's no rush. So in your own timing, when you're ready, there's an option to begin coming through center, possibly reaching both arms up to breathe in. As we exhale, you could pull down through the air in front of you. So it's that same movement we found before, scooping and lifting wide, breathing in, exhaling to pull down. Maybe one more time, breathing in and exhaling down. Resting your hands maybe on your knees for a moment so we can turn our toes forward. And we're gonna find our torso circles, this time with this nice wide stance. You may find that you have sort of more range of motion. You could try both directions. One option here would be to inhale for a full circle and exhale for a full circle as well. Trying out both directions. The more we can connect our movement and our breath, the more we're sort of anchoring ourselves in the present moment, which is sort of the definition of mindfulness. Taking your time. So if you'd like to, you could begin to come towards our wide forward fold. Again, you can always keep your hands on your knees or your elbows to your knees. If it feels useful today, you could bring your hands down to your ankles or your fingertips to the ground between your feet. Wherever you are, taking a moment to see if you'd like to bow your head forward. So you have that as an option to sort of bow your head forward and maybe lean or rock side to side. So it's almost like we're sort of drawn towards one leg and then drawn over to the other side, shifting from right to left. And then as you begin to come through center, we'll plant our hands on our knees, maybe looking forward, maybe lifting up, possibly reaching overhead to breathe in, exhaling your palms together to your heart so we can heel toe our feet back towards neutral. And this time we'll interlace our fingers. Maybe a little bit of circular snake-like movement here with our wrists. So we're really just listening into our wrist joints, seeing how they feel today. You're always welcome to continue this movement, or for a little bit of a different sensation, you could keep your fingers interlaced and draw your elbows away from each other. It may feel interesting to sort of lift one wrist and then the other. One of my favorite yoga teachers always called this flossing our wrist. I don't know why she called it that, but it's always stuck with me. You may feel a nice stretch here on the back of your wrist or the base of your palm. It's up to each of us to sort of calibrate this stretch to what feels good in our wrists today. You could continue this movement or maybe turning your interlaced fingers away from you and extending your arms forward. You have the option of floating your hands up any amount as you breathe in. Then as you exhale, we're going to release our arms all the way down and maybe find a little bit of soft forwards and back movement. Now, depending on what kind of chair you're using, we do want to make sure we don't bonk into, the arms of our chair or any nearby furniture, letting your arms get pretty heavy, sweeping forwards and back. We're going to follow our own momentum to inhale your arms overhead whenever you feel ready. And exhale to pull down through the air so we can come right back to that movement in our feet that we found earlier. Starting by maybe lifting one heel and then the other, sort of pedaling downward. If you choose to, you could start to lift one foot and then the other. And something you could add in this time, if it sounds interesting, so it's up to you. As you inhale, you could lift one foot. Then as you exhale, you're going to push down with your palms into your knee as your knee is pushing up and into your hands. So we're creating our own resistance. Inhaling, lifting the other foot. And then as you exhale, we're going to push hands into knee into hands, strengthening through our hip joints, breathing and lifting up, exhaling to push down. And you get to decide how much resistance feels useful. Hands into knee into hand. Now you're welcome to continue this for as long as you'd like. When you're ready for something a little different, you could begin to lift your left knee. Maybe you're holding on to your leg or your shin, inhaling to find your full spinal height. And as you exhale, possibly circling your toes or pointing and flexing your foot. Noticing how that feels today. Depending on how your left hip joint is feeling, you have the option of softening your left foot and moving your knee from side to side. A few circles through the air with your left leg, your left knee might feel useful today. Possibly beginning to extend your left leg forward and landing your heel. Now, it's up to you if you want to keep a bend in your knee or straighten your leg. Maybe your left foot is flexed as much as feels comfortable today. As we inhale, we want to lift up and then exhale forward. Each of us coming as forward as feels like a good stretch today. So we're never going to push into anything that feels pinchy or painful. We're just looking for a useful stretch. You're always welcome to stay in the static stretch. That's always an option. If you're feeling that you want movement, you could lift up through your heart, breathing in. And then as you exhale, you could come back down. Inhaling, maybe lifting up, and then exhaling right back down. You're welcome to take that a few more times if you choose. And then on an inhale, we're going to lift all the way up. Maybe you reach overhead. Exhaling your palms together towards the center of your chest. And as we inhale, maybe you dive upward, exhaling your arms very slightly back and down so that we can begin to plant both of our feet. Once again, taking that side to side movement in our knees. Now, after stretching out the back of both of our legs like that, it's possible that your knees are asking you for some soft movement. One way to find that is to lift up your left leg and sort of let your right foot, lift up your right leg, and let your right foot sort of swing forwards and back, sort of softening into our knee joint. Then we'll take that on the other side if you'd like, so lifting your leg and letting your left foot move forwards and back. Taking your time to begin planting your feet and maybe inhaling towards some length in your spine. We're going to shift our awareness back up into our shoulders for a few cycles of movement here. You're always welcome to modify for yourself what feels comfortable. As we inhale, maybe you reach up. As you exhale, you could bring your fingertips to your shoulders. Now, this may feel like a moment where you want to pause. Or if you'd like the movement, you could begin finding any kind of circular movement in your elbows. If you're circling your elbows, you may find that you're sort of swimming with your elbows back towards the wall behind you. It's a kind of like backstroke with our elbows. And it may feel useful to invite a little bit of a twist from side to side. So we're allowing some opening in our chest from side to side as we circle our elbows. It may feel useful into your upper back, your shoulders today. So that at any point you could start to swim forward to finding your sort of elbow freestyle forward. And as we swim forward, you may notice that a little bit of rounding feels useful. Almost like we're getting a nice little massage into all the connective tissues underneath our shoulder blades, our upper back. At any point here, you could choose to draw both of your elbows forward, maybe bowing your head. So that as we inhale, you could open your elbows, unfurling your arms wide and exhaling your arms down. possibly keeping our arms down where they are and turning your palms to face the sky. So that as you inhale, there's a lift in your heart. As you exhale, we're going to imagine rotating our palms to face the wall behind us, maybe a little rounding in your shoulders, maybe bowing your head. Inhaling, maybe rotating your palms back open again, lifting through your heart, and exhaling, rotating that. So we're sort of coming back to a little bit of that spinal wave, this time including our shoulders in that movement, maybe even a bit of a stretch down into your forearms or your wrists. As you feel ready on one of your inhales, we're going to turn our palms to face the sky and lift all the way up, breathing in. Exhaling your palms together to your heart. Maybe you push your palms into each other. So you may feel some strengthening in your chest and your shoulders, breathing in. As you exhale, releasing your hands all the way down. Maybe a little shake out in your hands, resting your hands on your knees. And if you'd like to, we could heel to our feet once again to a little bit of a wider stance. Now, this time, perhaps extending just your left leg. Now, I like to keep my toes lowered, but you're welcome to flex your foot as well. It's really up to you, whatever feels more supportive. Possibly extending your arms wide. Now, sometimes this is called warrior two. You may find that you want to pause here. You could also look past your right fingertips. Wherever you are, if you're noticing that your shoulders are sort of sneaking up towards your ears, there's an invitation to lower them down and back. Let's breathe in and breathe out. One option would be to stay here breathing. Or if you'd like some movement, you could turn your right palm to the sky, lifting your right arm up, bringing your left hand to support you on your leg. Maybe you look up and into the palm of your right hand. Sometimes this is called reverse warrior. Let's breathe in. As you exhale, you may find that you melt a little further to the left. Let's breathe in. As we exhale, this time bringing your right forearm to your right knee and your left arm overhead. Imagining reaching up to the sky, feeling that stretch along the side of your body. Breathing in and breathing out. As we inhale, maybe you come up through center, reaching both arms up, exhaling as you pull down through the air. We'll start to plant both of our feet, turning your toes forward and coming back to our great big circle. Taking 3 or 4 cycles of breath in your torso circle. There's no rush. So whenever you feel ready, you could begin to come back through what feels like neutral. This time extending your right leg, planting your left foot, maybe your left toes pointing out to the left. We'll inhale to reach up. And as you exhale, you could bring your arms wide, parallel to the ground. You're always welcome to stay here or look past your left fingertips. Breathing here. Softening through your jaw. You notice that you're furrowing your brow. This could be a moment to open your eyes a bit, to soften your forehead. Let's inhale. Maybe you lift your left palm, bringing your right hand down to support you on your right leg. Looking up at the sky, up towards your left hand, breathing in. As you exhale, you may find that you melt a little further into the satsang, breathing in. And as you exhale, bringing your left forearm to support you on your left knee. Maybe your right arm reaches overhead. Sometimes this is called extended side angle. Feeling that stretch from your right fingers all the way down to your right toes, breathing in and breathing out. We're going to inhale up through your center, maybe reaching both arms up. Exhaling your palms together towards the center of your chest as you begin to plant your right foot and heel toe your feet back towards about neutral. Releasing your arms down. Maybe you bounce your heels and shake out through your hands. And beginning to rest your hands on your knees. We're going to begin closing our practice with a final twist. So before we get there, there's an option of drawing your right knee up towards your heart. And as you flex your right foot, you could either bring your right ankle to your left knee, or if for whatever reason that's not feeling comfortable or interesting today, you could also cross your right ankle over your left foot. Either of those is going to bring that nice stretch into our right hip, lengthening up through your spine. Wherever you are, let's breathe in. As we exhale, there's an option to lean forward any amount. Then we'll stay here as we breathe in, breathing out. Inhaling your way back up through center. And as you exhale, you could plant your right foot so that we can inhale to lift our left knee. And you get to decide if you want to bring your left ankle to your right knee. That might feel useful into your hip today. You could also slide your left ankle down to your right foot. You're welcome to try both and sort of see which feels more interesting on this side, more available. We're going to inhale to lift and lengthen. And as you exhale, maybe leaning forward any amount. We're going to inhale back up. And as we exhale, we'll plant our left foot and maybe start to draw your right hand towards your right hip. So what that might do is start to open your heart to the right so that we're coming into a little bit of a twist on this side. Your left hand could reach over to your right knee, and then your right hand has all sorts of options. You could place it on the seat of your chair. You could also bring it to the back of your chair. You may find somewhere else that feels more supportive. Wherever you are in your twist, there's an option to explore looking to the right as you breathe in, and then looking to the left as you breathe out. And then you can sort of decide which of those feels more useful. Finding somewhere to position your head where you feel you could stay for 3 cycles of breath. And slowly start to unwind through center, and then we'll take our twist on the other side. So maybe you bring your right hand over to your left knee. Your left hand could be wherever feels supportive in your twist, on the back of your chair or the seat of your chair. You could explore sort of looking side to side until you find a place to position your head where you feel you could stay for a few cycles of breath in your twist. And we'll inhale our way through center, exhaling a couple more little movements in our shoulders as you begin to make your way back into the support of your chair. So maybe sitting back into the support of your chair, you could explore stretching your legs a little bit and getting comfortable. Possible that you rest your hands somewhere that feels comfortable today. You may choose to close your eyes. We're going to begin our transition into a moment of rest and stillness. It's kind of an opportunity for us to absorb the benefits of our practice together. A moment to rest. If you notice your thoughts wandering away from your body, you could invite your awareness back into the present moment by noticing what it feels like to breathe. And we'll be here for about 6 or 7 cycles of breath, each of us breathing at our own pace. I'll bring us back with the sound of my voice. Slowly beginning to deepen your breathing. Maybe taking a great big breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. You may find that it feels useful to find movement in your fingers and toes or blink your eyes open. It's possible that you choose to stretch your arms, almost like you just woke up in the morning. And then planting your feet, bringing your arms down. Maybe you find a little bit of length in your spine. You have the option of placing one hand over the other over your heart and taking a moment to just thank and acknowledge yourself for overcoming whatever obstacles were in your way so that you could be here to move, to breathe, and to practice in this community. And if your eyes are closed, you could blink them your eyes open, reaching up to breathe in. Exhaling your palms together towards the center of your chest, if you'd like. Peace and light from my heart to yours. Thank you all so much for sharing in this practice today and being a part of this GoGo community. You're welcome to unmute if you have any questions or feedback from me. I'm always looking to learn how to be a better yoga facilitator. Thank you.
No, I have a comment, I guess.
Nancy, hi.
Hi. Maybe it's because we got a late start, but I felt we did an awful lot of work on the right leg, but not that much on the left leg. And maybe that, when it's a full time, maybe it'll get more equal. Also, the other thing, and you're very welcome to take it or leave it, but there are times when Adra does it where she says, I'm going to mirror you. So because to see you is like looking in a mirror. So when you're moving, when you say move your right hand, if you were to move your own left
Kind of
hand,
like
it would
this.
be a mirror image, because I was getting a little confused near the end.
Totally. We can definitely do mirroring. That's great feedback. Thanks,
Anyway,
Nancy.
those two things were on my mind. And I'm glad we
Yeah,
did
thanks.
get started. It was much better
Yeah,
than doing it.
I'm glad you were here, Nancy. Thanks for sharing.
Me too.
Thank you. It was a very good workout.
Oh, good. I'm glad, Bernie. I am so looking forward to being a part of this community while Adra is on her vacation. She's a dear friend of mine, so it's so good to meet people that she cares about and the community she's a part of.
I was interested and helped, I think. I have a lot of trouble with the strength of my legs. I have very flat feet and I'm well along in years, but I do find that the strength of my legs is a problem. And just picking them up, I got them up inches off the floor. When you suggested that we lift them up with our arms, it was a whole different ballgame. And now
Awesome.
will this strengthen my legs, the fact that I'm supporting them with my arms? I'm tickled I'm sure I had a foot up off the floor. It was a whole new world for me.
Oh, I'm so glad to hear that. I think it's kind of a lot of different things that'll work together to strengthen your legs, right? So in that moment, when you chose to use the strength of your arms and hands, there's a lot of different pieces working there. So that's gonna obviously give you some strength in the upper body, but also that mobility and increased circulation down in our legs is sort of waking up those muscles a little bit. So even if we are assisting our legs, what it does is kind of sends our sensory system down into our legs to be like, hey, maybe we should be activating a bit more. And then also the kind of resistance we created. I don't know if you experiment with that, but what that'll do, let me just grab my hair here. What that'll do is anytime we are creating our own resistance, we're adding in a whole variety, all the muscles up here that connect our legs to our hips, essentially. We're creating resistance. So if your hands are pushing down into your leg and your leg is pushing up into your hands, we're strengthening up through our arms and all the way up into our hips and kind of helping with some of those stabilizing muscles for walking and also for the strength of lifting our legs. I don't know if that answers your question.
Well, the next time I do it, and really, there's no reason why I should not do it periodically during the day.
Totally.
I hope I will feel that, and it's something. There's so many positions and so forth that I really, unfortunately, don't remember them to do. But that one. It just is, I have no excuse for not remembering it. It's just, I'll look for an excuse, but I don't think I'm going to find one. It just seems very basic and simple to me as a way of moving the leg a little bit further up.
Totally.
So thank you for that. I
You're so
enjoyed the
welcome.
session.
Good, I'm glad.
And if you had trouble in the beginning, you did me a favor because I was late. And
So
so
mortified.
by the
I'm so
time I
sorry.
got there, you were congratulating yourself for having opened the class. So I'll try to be on time another time, but
Oh,
this was
me
a favor
too.
to me. So in your thankfulness, you can count that as a blessing.
Hi, Carol. I just wanted to thank you for this section because I enjoyed it very much. So thank you.
Good. Good, I'm glad. It's Wenling?
Yes.
Yes, I'm glad you were here.
Yeah.
We look forward to next time.
Yes.
Me too, me too. And then, feel free to reach out to V or GoGo with more feedback if you think of something else or other ways that I can improve and support you guys better. I'll see you soon. Take care,
Yes.
everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, Carol.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.